Pulp MX Network production.
EVS Sports brings you a cheeky Brit and an American YouTube racing sensation weekly on the LVK More Than Moto podcast. Here's your hosts, Phillips and Kellen Brauer.
Welcome back, everybody, to the EVS Sports LVK More Than Moto podcast. The final podcast of the season 2024 is coming to a close. Happy New Year's, everyone, by the way, as well. And man, what a year it has been. Myself, Kellen Brauer, Phillips, of course, going to be on to bring you guys an hour of fun today. A little bit of like a season review, season recap show to a degree, where we're going to rehash some of the most interesting storylines of the year, but also probably a few fun tidbits as well. Of course, I'm joined by Phillips. As always, how are you doing today, Lewis?
I'm doing well, Kellen. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm a little like slightly under the weather, which I'm not.
So am I.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of not upset by it, though.
Okay, I don't know what to do with that. That's
Okay.
a weird take.
In the past like 3 or 4 years, I feel like I've always been sick at A1. So
Right.
I would rather get it done with now.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I mean, I've got to commend you for your glass half full attitude. I think the world could do with more of that. I've been in this weird phase for like 2 or 3 weeks where I've not been sick or ill, but I feel like I'm on the verge of it. And for some reason, I can't get over the line either way. I'm like just kind of in this weird phase of like halfway there, and I can't move. So that's me.
How has this affected your workout routine? Because it's been quite the saga on Twitter. You've had injuries. You've been dealing with stuff.
I've been out of action for 2 weeks. I injured my arm. Really, to be honest with you, when I get to Anaheim 1, I will be going to the medics unit immediately because something serious has happened to my arm. So that's not good. And then I felt as though I was on the verge of a ruptured Achilles. So I also stopped running. So it's been 2.5 weeks now of nothingness. And I consulted with a few people that said that I was training like a madman as if I had something to train for. And they couldn't understand why I was so thorough. So now I'm back to bum life of doing absolutely fuck all and embracing it, to be honest.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that you ran, like 9 miles after 2 weeks of running. That's kind of an aggressive uptick. I think that's probably the start of your issues.
Kellen. This all links to my mental issues where I am either all in, and this even is obvious to people, I feel, through the LVK topics. I am either all in or I'm all out. There is no middle ground in my life with anything. Like, hey, Lewis, should we go and play crazy golf? It's either no or yes, here we go. My life and mood and immediate future depends on me having a good performance here. Oh my God, I hope I do. Like, that's me. And also on this show, either I'm into a topic and we're chatting away, or I'm just like, no, I'd have nothing to say on this. This isn't for me.
It's funny that you bring up golf in the middle of that discussion, because one thing I remember from this year was going to this thing called Pop Stroke with you at Glendale, which is like this Tiger Woods mini golf experience. And look, it's a little bit more, I guess, realistic golf than regular mini golf. But you were very intense. You took it very seriously when you were...
I'm a competitive fucking person, to be honest. I'm not opposed to killing a man to win crazy golf.
Whoa, okay.
If that's what it takes to get ahead, like, that's intense. That's how intense it is.
That took a turn, not where I was expecting it to go, but...
Boy, that escalated quickly.
That did escalate quickly. Okay,
that really got out of hand fast.
Oh my gosh. All right, let's get into the show. We got a fun one lined up for you guys. Like I said, we're going to have some review topics today. Before we do that, a big thank you to the sponsors that have been with us all season long. Of course, our title sponsor of the show has been EVS Sports all the way through. Experience the pinnacle of knee protection and injury prevention with the EVS Web Eclipse knee brace for over 39 years. EVS has relentlessly honed their engineering expertise, consistently delivering award-winning knee braces. This legacy of excellence is embedded in every facet of the new Web Eclipse, which represents the culmination of their tireless dedication dedication to innovation and rider safety. Use code LVK30 to save 30% off today. And I don't know if you've had this, Lewis. I've had people DMing me to remind them the code for LVK. So people are using it because they're like about to check out and they're like, hey, what's the code again? Have you had that?
Yeah, and of course people are using it because in these uncertain times, perhaps you're on a crazy golf course and someone is taking it so intensely that they use their golf club or their putter and as a murderous weapon. And of course, in that case, you would need protection, which EVS provides.
They do. They got all kinds of
ties
stuff
together. It's logical.
Absolutely. You nailed it right on the head. So a huge shout out to them, of course, for the support this year. Namura as well, presenting the show. The leading provider of engine components for motocross, ATV, UTV, and personal watercraft for over 2 decades, Namura has been the preferred choice for premium and dependable engine components for more than 20 years. Whether you're restoring your vintage bike, rebuilding your four-wheeler, or upgrading your new 450 race motor, Namura has you covered. Our extensive line of cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, engine valves, and soon cylinder kits that enhance your engine's performance. Keep an eye out for our new and innovative products in 2025 and beyond. Stay up to date by following us on Instagram at Namura_technologies. And also, big thanks to Racetech. They've been giving us so many fan topics this year. For 40 years, Racetech has been supplying the motorcycle industry with high-quality suspension components made right here in the USA. For modern to vintage, Racetech is your go-to source for suspension performance. It's weird saying 2025 in some of these ad reads. Is it weird yet to you? Like, we're not even in 2025 yet, but just so much 2025 talk already.
Well, what is weirder is that I live my life a quarter of a mile at a time, first of all. But second of all, and you saw this at the SMX Media Days, the riders refer to like last year as in this year, and this year as in next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I've caught myself doing that a lot since the season finished, even in general life.
I know it like, I feel like the ideal situation is that New Year's Day is like October 1 in our world.
Or we just get rid of that whole system.
Yeah. You don't like New Year's. You said that on our text line. So. Is it because of the partying? Is it the
No,
the
it's just
vibes?
dumb. Don't get it. I don't understand it, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you, Kellen. How about on Wednesday night at midnight, I call you and say, happy Thursday, Kellen. You made it to a new day. You wouldn't be up for that. So why are you up for it 24 hours earlier?
It's a new year, bro. There's 365 days
and
of a year.
Week and a new day, and it's all new. Hey, happy. Well, we're in different time zones. We're a couple of seconds away from 9:55 a.m. Kellen, you made it.
I did it.
Like it's literally the same concept.
Okay. All right. I don't agree with you, but okay. I'll take it for what it's worth. Let's get into the show. Here we go. All right. We're going to do blind topics again today, but I gave Lewis a chance to veto multiple topics because we're going to have a lot of, back and forth discussion. So my first topic
before we go on,
go ahead.
Remind me, I have a TikTok discussion at the end, a viral TikTok discussion for the end of the show, which will put us in the mainstream.
All right. I'm going to write that down right now. Viral TikTok discussion put us in the mainstream.
There is
you saying you will murder someone over golf hasn't already done that for us.
My TikTok at the moment is full of a American versus British debate. And it's sweeping TikTok. So this is it.
That'll be a good one to end the year on for sure.
Goodbye, Moto World. This is our ticket to fame.
All right. Here's my first topic, Lewis. Again, just talking about storylines from the year. I went back to Supercross and I tried to think like what was a turning point in a way. And my mind landed
probably the corners.
Yeah, probably the corners. My mind landed on Nashville because at the time Jet and Cooper Webb were tied in points. Obviously, the two PC Cowboy boys had the points lead, and in the end, Jet ran away from Cooper, and neither PC guy won the title. So Nashville is going to be like kind of a mini re-raceables here to rehash for just a minute because, again, McAdoo and Kitchen come in as the points leaders. McAdoo gets hurt in qualifying, still tries to race the night show. They crossed into each other in the first rhythm section and both went down. McAdoo withdraws, doesn't race the rest of the year. Kitchen gets up and I think finishes 14th in that main event, but probably lost enough points in that one crash to cost him the title. I mean, it really did in the end based on math. And then Jet and Cooper Webb are tied. Jet kind of walks away from Webb and Tomac in the main event. Chase Sexton crashes out. Ken Roczen has his season-ending injury. There's just a lot to unpack from that one race, and my mind always goes back to it as a turning point. But what do you think of Nashville when you think of it now?
Well, I'm not sure if it's old age or early onset dementia, but I do struggle to generally remember what has happened in the short term. So as you were doing your little spiel there, I was pleasantly reminded of a lot of stuff that I'd forgotten about. But before we get there, tandem. When I look back on the season or the year, I don't think about a single 250 memory. And I feel like as time goes on, I'm more and more favoring the 450 class as the premier class, which it is. But it's dominating my mind much more, whereas when I was younger, I kind of looked at them as equal importance. I don't know why that is. So that's my first point. And I've completely lost my train of thought for my second point. Hampshire won that East-West Showdown, didn't he?
He did.
Going away.
Yep.
I should also probably now is a good time to mention that while you were doing your spiel, I had a technical difficulty and didn't hear any of it, apart from Nashville. So that's why I'm now just floating through. No, it was on my end. I opened my AirPod case and it connected the audio to my AirPods, and
I thought you just said that you had heard my whole spiel and it brought back fond memories or something like that.
Yeah, it's called being a professional, Kellen.
Oh, okay.
The show must go on.
Okay, so do you need me to rehash some of this stuff?
Literally bullshitting.
Okay. Do you need me to rehash some of this stuff that I just said?
No, I'll talk about Nashville.
Okay.
If I think about Nashville, Roczen springs to mind. But actually, Roczen springs to mind. But what should spring to mind is Chase, because low key, heading into Nashville, Chase was kind of in a championship picture, at least it was realistic to discuss there was a shot, maybe if things went his way. So that really ended that attack. And actually, I wrote that this week, that although Chase's Supercross season gets a lot of critique, the switch to KTM comes under fire a lot. Little remembered, little referenced is the fact that he was indeed relevant in a championship fight up until round 14. So there's that.
Yeah, well, the reason I picked Nashville is because, again, we're getting very nitty-gritty in the, end of the season by that point. The championship picture is taking shape. At that specific point in time, not only is the championship tied between Webb and Jet, but like you said, Sexton's there. You could kind of make a fringe case for Tomac starting to light it up. He was like 18 points out or something like that. It was...
No, okay, you keep talking while I look at this.
Anyway, point being, he had won St. Louis. He was starting to get the momentum rolling. He, I think, whole shots the main event. He was out front and pulling away as well. And then Roczen had his crash. Jet is like 5 seconds back, just walks up to Tomac, walks by him, and wins by like 10, 15 seconds or something like that. And it, to me, just kind of put like that little extra, I am the guy on top of all that stuff that was going on by that point in time, which is everyone saying, is he having rookie mistakes? Is someone else going to come up and take this from him? And he proved it wasn't the case.
So heading into Nashville, so after round 13 of 17, Jet and Cooper were tied.
As I said.
I didn't hear that because, technical difficulties. So this was a surprise to me. Chase was only 15 points behind.
Yeah.
Although I just gave you that little spiel, I think that's closer than I actually remember. I thought it was more like 24. 15 is really there.
Yeah.
And then Eli was 30 behind.
Okay,
so
30.
Yeah, I guess you could have had the conversation, but realistically would have needed a lot of help.
Either way, my point was that he was getting the ball rolling and won St. Louis. And this one, to me, was kind of, I don't want to call it a shock because Tomac's year was so strange in that there never really felt like any semblance of momentum. But having seen what he had done in St. Louis to then get kind of easily caught and passed and walked away from Jet, I think was a little bit of a wake-up call to everyone again.
I wrote this week that Eli's 2024 Supercross season was drab.
Drab.
I feel like that's a pretty good description of it.
So your next time that you interview Eli, do you think you're going to bring that up?
Honestly, yeah, sure.
Okay. He'll probably agree with you.
Yeah, like why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
One win. Drab. When I nailed that word, I was like, you know what? I'm happy with that. That describes it well. Not aggressive, just works it well.
Okay, but so now that we've quickly rehashed Nashville, do you agree that was a turning point of the season, or is there something else that sticks out in your mind?
I think that in a sense, on paper, it was a turning point in the season, but I do feel like at the time, I, along with most people, very much was of the opinion of Jet will just figure this out because the cream rises to the crop. And although the points are close, Jet is the best rider. So all being well, this should still go in Jet's favor. So I think, although on paper, again, looking at those points, that surprised me. Although it was quite clearly a turning point, I feel like personally, I put less weight into it just because of that kind of underlying sentiment.
All right, fair enough. Well, we have hit the end of time for this topic, so I'm going to try to keep it to our 7 minutes today, unless you have anything else to add.
No, you do that.
All right, let's go to topic number 2. Again, just trying to think of moments that I think I will remember the most from this year. And the next thing that came to my mind was Sexton last to first at Hangtown. And I know you're going to love talking about this because it was a very interesting thing when it happened. But it was obviously, I think, maybe the most poignant moment of Sexton's career thus far on a KTM, of something that like he actually can ride that bike that well. It was maybe the best he'd ridden for a long time since being on a Honda. Just take me through some of your initial thoughts and memories from Hangtown and Sexton's last to first charge.
You say the most poignant moment of Chase's time with KTM. May I raise you the most poignant moment of his career?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, although he was a Supercross champion, Chase has gotten a lot of flack, and a lot of his success, people have tried to poke holes in it. Whereas I feel like Hangtown Moto 2, or was it Moto 1? Moto 2 was maybe the first time where there was absolutely no room for critique. Like it was the most bulletproof case ever of like, if you want to doubt Chase, you cannot now. Like this, what more do you want? So I'll raise you that in response. And it's funny, again, just we've left that behind. I don't know if it's because we have so many races, so we move on so quickly, so many series as well. But that should, as the year draws to a close, I feel as though you go on websites, Instagrams, etc., and that should be replayed over and over and over and over. But we've really left that. That feels as though it was 2 years ago.
Well, can I ask you then real quick? Because like I said, this is something that sprung to my mind as like, I feel like I'm going to remember this 10, 20 years down the road. Are there other things this year that stick out, or has it just been such a wash, like you said, because there are so many races that there isn't that many memorable moments that we can even pull from this year?
I feel like I've had a lot of stress this year.
Well, me too.
And therefore, well, maybe you agree with this then. And therefore, my memory is clouded because some of the moments don't stick out because they were overridden by just grief.
Yeah. Do you agree though then that the Sexton one is, I mean, if you're gonna rank a thing of like most shocking moments or whatever you want to call it,
let's not step on Lewis's categories coming up here, Kellen.
Right,
let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's not try and devalue what Lewis has prepared for us.
Let's get back to the topic at hand though, of Chase. Obviously, this comes after Jet crashes in the first moto, which I think was maybe the only hole that people could poke in this, is that Jet wasn't 100%, but he was still on the track. I think he finished 6th in that moto. Can you just kind of...
Hold on.
What?
Hold on. I completely forgot Jet was on. I completely forgot. In my head, I was just like, yeah, Jet was out at that point. Because again, my mind is like...
Your brain is fried, dude.
Yeah, crazy. I didn't even give it a second thought. I was like, yeah... Because I was going to say about the whole bulletproof arguing against Chase. I was going to say, well, I guess in my head, I was like, well, I guess people could say Jet wasn't there. But yeah, he was. Yeah, complete brain fart. But that also says a lot about the mindset within the sport of if there's an event, a significant event at the front of the pack now that doesn't involve Jet, my mind just goes to what Jet wasn't there. You know? Do you get me?
Yeah, I mean, I think that in general, you have said this recently on the show, that like people pinned towards the negative or dramatic. Chase's last to first thing was I don't know, a feel good story, I kind of think, right? Like it was finally Chase realizing his potential after having many struggles on the bike already, and he continued to have struggles on the bike. But like it's one of those things where people don't remember it as well because it didn't like hash on forever. It was like, holy crap, that just happened, and we move on.
And let's be honest, Chase, as I said, does have a lot of detractors. So there were people who didn't want to see that because it went against their narrative. And also, of course, Jet won the next week, which immediately shuts down all of that discussion because it's rendered irrelevant 7 days later. If Chase had won, if the streak that Chase had at the end of the year started with that Hangtown Moto, then I think it would have been referenced more because it would have been this massive moment that kick-started a consistent narrative. Instead, it was a standalone item. But yeah, I think Chase is going to be good this year. I actually think everyone's going to be good this year. Everyone love everybody.
Did you watch his most recent vlog?
No, I don't. To be honest, I don't watch moto videos on YouTube anymore.
Sad. No, he looks good.
I think Chase is going to be good. I think Eli's going to be good. I think Cooper will be good, and I think Jet will be the same, if not a little worse at the beginning because of the new bike.
Yeah. So how demoralizing will it be then if Jet comes in and wins like the first three?
Extremely.
Yeah.
I wrote that. A lot of writing recently. I wrote that last night as well. This is Jet's moment to absolutely underline his dominance.
Yeah.
Because if he does it again this year, then similar to what I just said about Chase, there is no way you can question anything.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So back to the Chase thing real quick. You and I were both there. Where you were still in the infield for the last lap, right?
Yep.
So did you see his pass on Plessinger coming down the hill? Because I didn't.
No.
I was at the finish line. So
no, actually, I was at the finish line as well because I was at the finish line because I gave up.
Oh.
Start of the last lap, I was like, it's done. There's no way. Like, what an incredible ride. He got to second. There's no way he's passing AP. So I was like, I'm going to head back.
Yeah.
And then I remember hearing the crowd erupt, and I was like, no way.
Well, so that's what I was going to say. In terms of things that stand out in my mind, the two things I'll definitely remember about that were his going over the finish line jump and doing the, like, point to the sky thing or whatever, because it was, just like all the weight lift off his shoulder, it seemed like.
Touching.
Yes.
I think we're all in pursuit of our own personal moments like that in 2025, Kellen.
The other thing that I'll probably remember for a long time is hearing the crowd react. I could see the hillside behind the starting line, the crowd reacting, and then the entire hillside of like the main hill at Hangtown, all just, jumping up and down, cheering or whatever. And then just seeing Chase appear from behind the starting line by himself over that tabletop that used to be the finish line jump, because that's all I could see.
Yeah.
Like, that's just like, that'll stick in my mind forever because it's so loud, and then just one rider floating above all the banners and stuff like that. It's kind of cool.
I've legitimately got goosebumps from that.
Me too, a little bit. A little bit.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. What a moment we've just shared.
It was a cool moment for sure. It's something that I feel like deserves to be a little bit more of a memorable thing from this year than just, hey, that happened. You know what I mean?
I would say it's not even remembered as, hey, that happened. It's just not talked about.
Yeah. All right. My last topic, I still have 3 that I could pick from. So I'm actually going to lay out 2 in front of you, and then we can pick a direction here. To me, these are the biggest storylines of the year because they have lasting impacts on both racing series and the sport at large. One side is KTM's financial struggles. We've talked about it recently, we don't have to go down that route if you don't want to. The other side is Prado racing Supercross, winning the MXGP title, and leaving that part of his life behind to come pursue the US dream on a 450, which is super rare. So which do you think is the more poignant thing to talk about?
Well, what's the third one? You said you had another one.
My third one is Australia winning the Motocross of Nations for the first time in their history.
Okay, Prado.
Okay, Prado. So Prado, to me, it's going to be like one of those ripple effects things. Like, we're going to look back on this thing in 15 years, maybe even 10, and be like, dude, I don't think that would have happened without this, this, and this, and this. And I feel like obviously the ripple effect of him leaving MXGP as the defending champion is massive, and all the things that are going to happen with there leaves a team that is already restructured and rebranded to KTM. So like that was changing because of the KTM situation. But, you know, again, they don't have a marquee, quote unquote, 450 guy, I guess, if you want to say Lucas Kunin. But anyway, point being, MXGP changed forever now because Prado left. US Supercross, the US side, also going to change, in my opinion, a lot, because I feel like this is going to be, it's going to be looked at with a fine-tooth comb for a long time of, if we don't get a guy over here early, will it ever work? And so what I mean by that is, if you don't have a guy like the Kunins, DeWolf, whatever, come over at earliest, or at latest, I should say, 20, is it going to work?
So yeah, you think Prado could effectively close the door for anyone who wants to make the move,
or
who's already on a
blow it
450?
wide open?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying, is like, I think that this is going to change the way we kind of look at the landscape of guys hopping the pond.
I agree to an extent, but I also think that Prado's case is so unique because there are so few riders who would look to move once already on a 450. Because that's why Prado's such a big deal. It's unnatural. It's never been seen before, really. The closest, most recent example is Townley. But even he was young and had only done 1 year on a 450 and was going back to the 250. So the similarities really stop at he was a 450 GP winner and came. But as with anything, I do think that Prado can help maintain the momentum of Euros coming to America in the same way that the Kunins can, the Wolf can, in the same way that Tonus kind of closed the door.
Okay.
It kind of lives and dies with every single rider. Because again, recency bias is prevalent. We don't really think much further than what's in front of us as human beings. So if Prado kills it and then the Kunins fail, everyone will remember the Kunins failing and be scared off of whoever's next. But then also you've got to remember that Prado is so good that Prado doing well won't really count for anything in relation to anyone else, because it's Prado and he's meant to be that good.
Okay, let me ask you quickly about MXGP and the ripple effect that this is going to cause, because Prado is still young, has many more years ahead of him that he could be winning world championships. And of course, Hurlings, Geyser, Fevre are still there, but they are all older. They are all getting to, I don't want to say the end of their careers, but to a point where they maybe won't be at the elite highest level for a longer period of time than Prado could be. He could go until he's 32 from now and still probably be winning world titles over there, which is 8 years from now. Do you think that Prado leaving Europe completely changes the landscape of who is going to be the next crop, especially because all the crop that's coming behind him might be following him?
Prado leaving, no. The Kunins leaving, yes. Because the Kunins would be here. And also Prado I wouldn't necessarily say that Prado was next because he was the present.
But that's what I'm saying is, so like, he is the present, he's leaving. Let's say within 3 years, seems kind of fast, but it could happen. Hurlings, Prado, Geyser, or Hurlings, Fevre, Geyser gone.
Oh yeah.
So then who steps up?
Hurlings and Fevre will definitely be gone in that time.
That's what I'm saying. So who's up?
DeWolf.
If he doesn't come.
Yeah, but DeWolf coming isn't a sure thing.
No, I know, but
from what I've learned, I think DeWolf coming would very much be a business decision. Like, if he gets offered more money to stay in Europe, he does that. If he, like, whatever makes sense career-wise. It's not so much of a and I actually said this to a team last week who rung me saying that they want to make Kai an offer. I don't think it's necessarily like other riders. I don't care what's on the table in Europe. I will come to America for $10 and a Mars bar because it's my dream and I just want to be in America. I think there's not so much emotional investment in it. It's more of a strategic play now. Because I think that maybe coming to do that test, although it went very well on track, maybe opened his eyes to how different it is in America. Not just the landscape, but also the people, the way of working, etc., etc.
The only reason I asked this question is because, again, let's say 2011, Antonio Cairoli just is like, I'm going to go race Supercross. I'm done. GPs, I'm good with it. suddenly we have Clement Desaulles is a 2-time world champion. Frossard finished second a year, didn't he? So he would win a title.
Yes.
Gauthier Paulin would win a title. Like, again, I just feel like that ripple effect of suddenly Maxime Renault wins a championship. Like you said, DeWolf probably will step up. Is there anybody else that, can we start theorizing that this leaves a lot of opportunities open?
Yeah, Renault is probably a good one to take over. And a lot of people, including KTM, have looked at him as kind of the next guy for some time because KTM made him a good offer this time last year, or maybe 2 years ago. I think this time last year, to join and kind of be their next guy. So yeah, I think Renault is a good pick.
So like I said, I think the ripple effect for GPs is kind of gnarly to see where that goes. We already talked about his prospects for Supercross and what we think happens there. Do you think, I want to just ask you to end this topic, do you think that Prado's career is going to go longer because he's made a switch in the middle, or it will be shorter because he's going to be like dragged down by this whole process?
Shorter.
So you think by 30?
Well, it depends, because obviously if, say it takes him 4 years to get to Supercross success, he's not going to walk away from that because he's going to be like, finally, I made it, now to reap the benefits.
Right.
So I guess it depends on when and if success comes.
Okay. So let's say success comes, like you said, 2-3 years in, you think 30, 31, he's probably done?
Well, I left my mystic ball on charge in the other room, so hard for me to answer that.
Well, it's just part of the debate. That's why I'm trying to figure out the prospects of what this looks like years down the road.
Answer me this. When does Prado win his first Supercross main event? 25, 26, 27, 28? Never.
27.
I was going to say 27 as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to...
First podium, 26.
I think he might podium this year, actually. But I do think
I think it's got to be a very special situation.
I'm saying like once. Daytona.
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that.
Yes. I think that unique situation, he podiums this year, but more like undoubted, sturdy podium finish, 26.
Yeah, I think he has a lot of building to do for sure in Supercross. I think everyone's just like, I hope he makes it safe to outdoors, which is
honestly
fair.
Don't you think, like, insanely little Prado discussion and interest right now?
Well, I think the crash affected that. I think if we had more videos of him just absolutely shredding at the test track, that would change a little bit. But also, like, this week, Whiskey Throttle and Swap both spent some time with him. Actually, last week, spent some time with him at the test track. So we've got some videos popping up, and they're getting pretty good views. Like, I think people are starting to build that hype up again a little bit more.
Okay, noted.
All right. That's my topics, Lewis. So I'm good to go. Let me quickly think. EVS Sports again, just real quick. Experience the pinnacle of knee protection and injury prevention with the EVS Web Eclipse knee brace. For over 39 years, EVS has relentlessly honed their engineering expertise, consistently delivering award-winning knee braces. This legacy of excellence is embedded in every facet of the new Web Eclipse, which represents the culmination of their tireless dedication to innovation and rider safety. Use code LVK30 to save 30% off today. All right, what you got?
Well, this isn't a topic. Let me just say that this is a little an appetizer to this segment.
Hors d'oeuvre.
Do you want to have a guess at what the word of 2024 is?
The word?
Yeah.
Is it like a Zoomer thing? Not a Zoomer thing.
What the hell does that mean?
What's Gen Alpha?
I don't know what. I don't
like.
What is
it
this
like a young kid?
Speaking?
Is it a young kid phrase?
No.
The word of 20.
Who knew? This is actually correct thing. It was published by some reputable source. The word
fake
is
news.
Polarizing.
Polarizing.
Yeah, which is ironic because you could argue that some of us on LVK are quite polarizing in the space, and also you look at Jet Deegan, who we've got in the sport at the moment. You could say it's all very polarizing in this sport. So look at Super Motocross just sitting in tandem with the word of 2024.
I think it's interesting because I feel like it's bold that's the word of 2024 when in about 40 hours of this podcast, I don't think we've used the word polarizing once.
Well, that's on us, Kellen. We need to follow trends. We need to up our game.
We're not trendy enough.
Nope. So let me just now move on to a full segment.
Okay.
Got some award categories looking back on 2024 year in review. Now these categories are a bit questionable. I googled them, and I'm gonna have to rework some of them to make them relevant. The first topic is favorite new person. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rework this to moto wise. Who's a rider who you, after the events of 2024, maybe you have a bit more of a sentimental place for heading into 2025? Someone who you would like to see do well, who at this point last year you kind of didn't give a shit, to put it bluntly. Who would you like to see do well in 2025? Who a year ago you couldn't give a fuck if they lived or died, to be honest.
Yeah. I can't really specifically answer that because I did care if these people lived or died.
That was satire.
I get it. I think favorite new face that could do well, Julien Beaumer. He was a complete unknown of what he would be able to accomplish going in A1, and now I feel like it's pretty known that he's on a solid trajectory.
Yep.
So I'm excited for that. I would say in terms of just like straight up now at the front, and it's cool to see them there, Chance Hymas. Because do you want me to give a because or no?
No, yeah, you can go.
I was gonna say because he kind of came up in the Deegan zone. Deegan obviously quickly overshadowed him.
I believe it's referred to as the danger zone.
The danger zone. Deegan overshadowed him quickly. Chance got hurt, dealt with the knee injury. I feel like there was plenty of reason to believe it would take him a long time to get back to that level, quote unquote. And I feel like he did it much faster than a lot expected. So it's kind of cool.
Okay. I actually don't have to come up with an answer to this because I already knew who this person was because it's actually been on my mind. I have no relationship with this rider at all, but for some reason, I would like to see him do well. And the award goes to Ryder D. And I don't know why, but I think overshadowed, maybe dealt a bad hand with Cowie. I don't know. For some reason, I would just like to see Ryder D do well in 2025, and I'd be like, oh, that's good to see. Good for him. I don't know why, though.
On an interview scale, do you like interviewing him or no?
Honestly, I've probably interviewed him once or twice.
I like interviewing him. He's
good.
Very informative, well-spoken, too, which you don't often expect from the younger guys. But yeah, I like him. I agree.
Okay. But yeah, I don't even know where that comes from. It's just a subconscious feeling.
You know where it comes from? I've been listening to your Erasables that you did with Steve and Rarick and Weech. It comes from, you literally said it early in the show. Stewart was the hyped guy and got all the press and excitement. So naturally you were like, I want to see if someone can beat him. I want to root for the underdog. And that's why you became a Chad Reed fan that specific season. And I think that's the same thing you're feeling with Ryder D, which is there was a lot of hype around him. Now no one seems to care. Now he's just another guy out there. So can he get back to that level? I want to root for the underdog again.
Well, in a shock turn of events, we've gone from therapy with Lewis to therapy with Kellen, who had that on their 2024 bingo card. The next category on this list is most improved friend. Now, for some of us, not naming names, who have no friends, new or old, it's impossible to do this category. So we're going to rephrase it to most improved rider. Would you like to go first, or shall I? I actually don't have one on this.
You go first. Oh, okay. Then apparently I need to go first. Most improved rider. Man, that is a...
Is it weird to say that I feel like no one really... I mean, Hymas?
Yeah, Hymas is probably the first one that comes to mind for me. I'm trying to think 450s, though, because I don't want to just be stuck in the 250 class for this. So, most improved rider on a 450?
Because for 450, deck of cards isn't really changing. We've just got the same guys. I don't think there's room for anyone to improve massively because we know what Anderson, Tomac, Barsha, Mookie, Chase, Webb, Eli are going to bring to the table always.
No, you know what? My most improved rider, which is one people would probably not even think of, Hunter Lawrence. I get it. He comes off of winning all those 250 titles and stuff. Dude doesn't even make the main event at A1. It was unforeseen circumstances, but he goes from not making the main event at A1 to winning outdoor motos, podium in Supercross, won an SMX race, was leading the points to the finale. I think his 450 rookie season went from, wow, that's not going to go good, to, holy crap, he's going to be super successful.
Okay, fair. I will deep dive into the memory bank and go for Benny Bloss on the beta. Didn't make the first 2 main events, and then was actually a top 10 solid guy at the end of the year. So in a small time frame, that was a real improvement. So that's where my award goes. So congrats to the award winners so far. You can come up and collect your medals at the end of the ceremony.
What are these called?
Like the Oscars, these are just called the Lewises.
Okay, the Lewises.
Doesn't really work with when my name ends with an S.
Yeah, and you can't
sounds a lot more natural.
You can't do the Phillipses either.
No, I'm fucked, to be honest.
Yeah.
And this is a nice way to encapsulate my 2024. You could argue.
As in, I'm fucked? That's your encapsulation? Yes. Yeah.
Best memory.
Okay.
Fuck, this is a hard one. I had a good burger at some point. That's about as high as I can go, I'm afraid.
Best memory. Jeez.
I can't go into the specifics, but genuinely, the most I've laughed the most I've laughed this year was the Philadelphia press box when I was explaining to you the themed race I would like to see and going into the ins and outs of how this themed race would look.
Okay. Yeah, that might be my best memory. It sucks that we can't actually talk about this themed race.
Can
you
we?
can't, dude. You're gonna get canceled.
Okay. But it was funny.
It was so fun. We were laughing so hard. And for context, people, for timing of this was about 5 minutes before Steve walked on to do Race Day Live for the first time that year. And so he had to leave so he could stop laughing.
I remember Steve
He was
being
in tears. He had to leave so he could stop laughing so hard before he went on Race Day Live.
But basically, for vague context, we were sat in silence and I just randomly went, I'd like to see us go a bit more outlandish with our themed events. How about we just start to celebrate X? And then I went into immense detail on how this would look for each rider and their bikes and how they would do this. So that genuinely, when I had to think about when I had the most fun or the biggest laugh or the most, that was genuinely stands out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Maybe a bit, what would you call it? Narcissistic?
Yeah.
For me to give that award to myself?
Well, I mean, I would probably give the award to myself too, because I had a kid this year, and that was super memorable. So
that's very different. That's two very different.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you face those two off to find an ultimate winner. Most exciting moment. We're going to get to some better categories here.
Most exciting moment. I mean, like, obviously the Sexton pass on Plessinger to win from last place was super exciting. Maybe the Seattle main event, Webb versus Sexton, like almost
completely forgot.
I think that one was pretty good. I think probably the loudest moment of the year was Plessinger's win at San Diego. So you could say that was the most exciting. Like, everyone was super on their feet cheering. So I don't know. One of those? I'll go Seattle.
I like Seattle. Funny how so much of this comes from early in the year.
Well, outdoors, like, I just don't feel...
It doesn't grip you as, like, memorable for some reason.
No, it's not that it's not memorable. It's just that it doesn't build to a crescendo very often. Like, there's not a lot of, like, and they're closing, and the last 2 laps are hellacious battles. Like, that just doesn't happen. Whereas that Seattle race was.
Most frightening moment.
Did you not want to give, or was Seattle your answer?
Oh, I went with Seattle.
Okay.
I didn't. It's
probably
a drab 2024. Not much to choose from.
Most frightening moment, Forkner's crash, Arlington.
That's a fair point. I think that's a fair point. My most frightening moment was took a lot of balls to log on to LVK each week, and
okay, yeah,
face the dark pit of despair, which is this podcast. I honestly don't have one, so I'll go Faulkner as well. This is going really well. I'm just basically taking.
Yeah, I thought you would have
say.
good answers to these categories since you
No,
came
I
up
spent
with them.
so much time trying to find categories. This one isn't going to work. Miscellaneous award. At this point, just give an award to something from 2024.
All right, an award to something. Can we go? What were you gonna say?
No, I've got nothing.
Can we give an award to Shane McElrath? Most teams ridden for in a calendar year.
We the banner that we can when we have to reflect on our 2024 season as a business. I think the one feather in our cap is that we definitely discussed Shane McElrath more than any other podcast.
We did. We gave a fair shake to him.
And I'm not sure if that's necessarily a good, unique selling point, but it's our unique selling point. And for that reason, I hold it close to my heart.
Maybe we should have Shane on the pod.
There is someone rung me yesterday and said they want to come on this pod as a guest, and I said yes to them. But I don't remember who that person was.
Okay.
So if you're listening to this and you called me yesterday about wanting to come on LVK, reach back out. And this time I'll have a note, a pen and a bit of paper handy.
God, Lewis, we're crawling into 2025 right now, man.
Place of the year. This one's easy for me. I fucking love Glendale. Glendale is such a good venue for a Supercross, and I strongly recommend it to all. Glendale will always have a very special place in my heart.
I wholeheartedly agree. Love Glendale. It might be one of the few Supercrosses I don't go to this year, which I'm actually super bummed about. Glendale's very, very good, though. I like it a lot. I'm just trying to think of anything else.
I will say my underdog pick for like race I went to with zero expectations, but actually surprised me was Indy. Like I just thought Indy's
Indy's
who
fun.
cares? But I was this is actually quite all right.
I'll go Nashville. I hadn't been before. That was my first time going to Nashville, and it was fun going out with you guys the night before.
Nashville's amazing also.
Yeah, so
if we could do Glendale, Nashville, Anaheim on rotation for 17 rounds of Supercross, I would not be complaining.
Dude, and Glendale's going to be good this year because they just built that new hotel across the street.
Yeah, with a roller coaster coming out of it.
Yeah. Which, okay, so I feel like we have to explain. The venue itself, I feel like, is such little of our pick, I guess, if you will, because we're always thinking of the stuff that we are doing around it or the pit setup itself or something like that. I hated the Nashville press box, but the Nashville experience was pretty fun. Glendale press box is meh. It's in the corner. It's not very good. But all the stuff around these stadiums to do is awesome. Nashville is so close to downtown. Glendale has this massive like shopping center right next to it. Like that's the kind of stuff that's makes the event more fun.
Maybe Glendale was where the aforementioned crazy golf incident happened. Some podcasts choose to do ride days. Maybe we should do an LVK mini golf tournament.
Rent out like an hour at that place.
We'd have to rent it out.
Just have a gaggle of people show up.
Yep.
Pay for yourself.
I'll take a break from the awards here now to announce another category named the best brand of 2024. Levi's. And I have no idea why.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we had to debate on what's the best brand of 2024.
No, this is like the words. Oh. This is actually the official.
Levi's. Do you buy jeans? Do you buy Levi's jeans?
No. Second was Calvin Klein. Actually, these are ordered by category. So Levi's just one fashion.
That's crazy. Okay.
Watches, Apple Watch 1, beating out Rolex. How about that? What a crazy world we live in, huh? Anyway, back to the awards. Most significant blunder.
Ooh.
Steve, let's do a podcast on
I got it.
On Pulp Network. Oh, okay.
Ready?
Yep.
The card girl being on the track at Birmingham.
That was what I thought of as well. That was what I thought of as well. And again, as far as viral moments go, that really died quite quickly.
It did. I think it had a little pressure from the top, though, to be fair.
Okay. You could also, to circle back to Nashville, you could also go Roxon's shock issue in the whoops.
Yeah, but that's I don't want to call that a blunder because that was an unnatural jump those guys were landing off of, like tripling to flat pretty much.
Okay. Biggest flop of the year. LVK.
Probably. That's a good one, actually. My career? Can we say that?
I'd like to raise you my career.
In terms of racing, biggest flop of the year. We're just gonna piss someone off. I feel like.
Yes, good. Fun that.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like there wasn't much like surprise or disappointment. I feel like for the most part, everyone kind of just did what you would kind of expect.
Is it terrible to say?
Shit thing to say.
Is it bad to say Barsha? There was some dark days in the middle of the season for Barsha.
That's fair.
Like he was getting like 15th, kind of like straight up, a couple times.
Could you argue, perhaps,
that
Tomac winning won the main event in Supercross falls under that category?
No. You can't come back from a catastrophic injury when you were borderline going to retire and win one main event and call it a failure.
Failure didn't even enter the conversation, Kellen.
Okay, call it a letdown. Flop.
No, but my only thinking with that is I look at it as if you polled every single fan prior to Anaheim 1 and said, will Eli win more than one main event this year? All of the fans, I feel like, would have said yes, including me, including you.
Yeah.
That's kind of my litmus test in my head.
I got another one for a flop. Colt Nichols on a beta.
Fair. So beta winning 2 awards in this ceremony. Good for them. So on this website, it says the biggest flop of the year was Tesla Cybertrucks. I have no idea why.
Dude, they're everywhere here.
Yeah.
Do you see them a lot in Florida?
I see them everywhere now.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, for sure.
But apparently they're the biggest flop of the year, according to this website.
Okay.
Are we done with these awards?
I think so. You've used 2 of your times allotted,
okay.
But we could do more. I'm fine going long today.
Do you want to award for greatest life lesson?
Go for it.
Thought
you had one.
No. You're alone in this fucking world, so look after number 1.
Yeah, it's a good one. My life lesson of the year is life is unfair sometimes.
This is full of the cheers, this podcast. What a cheery end to 2024. Okay.
All right, what's your next topics, Lewis? You're dragging here.
Am I?
A little
Sorry.
bit. Yes, pep up. Come
on. Well, let me go to the TikTok discussion.
Oh, here we go.
It's not really a discussion, but merely, do you know, as an American, who Robbie Williams is?
No.
Okay. That is a big TikToker debate at the moment because it's a famous singer from England who was massive in like the 2000s, and he's got a film out which is basically I don't know what you call it, a biopic. And TikTok is, the Americans on TikTok are like, who is this man and why does he have a film? And the English people are retaliating with, this man was extremely famous. How do you not know? But I'm just genuinely curious.
So like you for sure know like who he is. Yeah. You know his songs.
I think everyone in England knows.
You know his songs too. Like if they came on the radio, you'd be like, oh, that's Robbie.
Yeah, could sing along.
Okay.
But just genuinely wondered. Not really a topic.
Interesting. No, I have no idea. Would I? Okay. Do you think I would know his songs? Like I don't. Maybe if I don't know him, I would know his songs.
I have no idea, to be honest, because I don't know what. I don't know if there was a global reach there, but yeah. Anyway, final topic. As we close the book on 2024, and
no pressure
on 2025. What's the number one thing that you believe will happen in 2025 Super Motocross? I'll go for a very obvious one, and then I'll give you a real one. Progressive Insurance will win the 450 Supercross title. because they have Jet, Chase, Eli, and Cooper.
Yeah,
So,
they do. Yeah.
I mean, good chances for Progressive Insurance. You could say that they're well covered as 2025 Supercross looms.
That's a good one.
Thank you. I personally feel like my turning point
Yeah.
was
Very
my
comedic
highlight.
genius. Oh gosh,
I don't know about what I
like,
believe. I guess my overriding sentiment heading into 2025 is I do believe that Eli, Chase, and Cooper will be better suited to challenge Jet. And I feel like this time, if Jet slips up, Chase and Eli and Cooper will be in a position to capitalize. Whereas I feel like for each individual's personal reasons, last year they maybe weren't.
yeah.
So I feel like if Jet falters, there will be less room for error.
You know what? Then I believe the 450 championship goes all the way to Salt Lake City. I don't know how close it'll be. I just don't think that anyone walks away.
No, I would agree. Like, I guess the way I would put it is this: if Chase and Eli start first and second, and Jet starts third, I don't believe that Jet just works them. Whereas last year, that was kind of a possibility. I mean, we saw in Nashville, to your point, he came from way back and worked Eli. But I don't think that same situation plays out in 2025.
Can I ask you real quick?
Ask me whatever you want, Kellen.
I think earlier in the year, those guys race Jet harder. And then it slowly became like he's going to pass us anyway. And for some guys, at least, do you not feel
I can't think of any examples on either side of that coin.
Trying to think.
I mean,
like obviously the first one I think of is that Webb passed him very aggressively in the first heat race of the year.
Yes, and then Anderson in San Diego.
Yeah, I like the Barsha thing was an accident at St. Louis. I just don't feel like when he got closer to winning the championship that he was roughed up as much as he was at the start of the year, because I feel like they were giving him like his rookie dues. And the only thing
do you not think that's also an example of like
they haven't raced him before, so they don't know?
Well, no, more like we're nearing the end of the championship. I'm not really in this. I don't have much justification. There's not a lot on the line that warrants an aggressive move.
What I wanted to ask this though was, do you believe in any shape or form, based on some of the things he has been saying lately, which is, garnered the ire of many fans, that he gets raced even harder this year?
No.
So there's no, like, him coming out and saying, I need to have a perfect season because that's what gets me out of bed. You don't think Eli Tomac goes, put him over a berm? That's done.
I do believe that this could be one of the highest stakes Anaheim ones that we've had, because especially, again, after last year where Eli wasn't his best, Chase wasn't his best, I feel like those two need to come out at Anaheim 1 and set the record straight almost. Immediately silence any doubts and be like, this is the 2025 version of me. Because, for instance, say Jet wins Anaheim 1 and Eli finishes 7th. Immediately, everyone is going to go, for those two riders, this looks very similar to 2024. Whereas even if Jet wins and Eli comes second, giving him a close race, then we're sat here going, Eli is definitely better than 2024. This will be different. And what we say is irrelevant, but what is more important is Eli and Chase need to set that into Jet's mind.
Yeah.
Like even if he wins, hey, you won, but this is different. So watch out.
Well, it's just all about establishing tone. Like, I feel like those guys need to not let Jet get as comfortable as he was by the end of the year again.
But what's fascinating about that is you're effectively asking Tomac to do something that he's only ever done once, which is come out at Anaheim 1 and shine bright.
Yeah.
So the stakes are high, but he's also got to do something that isn't in his MO, which is fascinating. And I do believe that he has to do that. I don't believe that Eli can come out and do his usual consistent run through the West Coast and pick it up just as we go east. Because A, I think that'll be too late if Jet is on form. And B, I think that for personal reasons, and even exclude what other people think, I think for Eli to believe in himself as much, he needs to set the record straight with himself and be like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think he has a lot of confidence rolling in from how things have gone, how the offseason's been going, not being as hurt as he was coming in off the Achilles last year. So I think that there's more reason to believe that he's just going to be firing on all cylinders right from the start.
I think that what Eli will potentially have questions about is his start.
Yeah.
Sans scoop tire or some variation of that.
But as you may have alluded to him in the past, starts do tend to flow with confidence. And if he's coming in confident...
Great theory. You know what? I think I'm going to bring that back for 2025.
If he's exuding confidence based on things that have been going on, I think that he'll just start up front.
But again, I think Anaheim 1 sets the tone for that.
Like, nations. Like, Eli Tomac's starts have been so hit and miss, but he was just confident, like, I'm good, bike's good, like this track, whole shot, final race at Nations. Like,
but his start in the first one wasn't great, was it?
He had the outside, didn't he? They gave Coop inside.
Yeah, but I don't think that really matters there because we saw good starts come from everywhere.
Yeah, I don't think it was that bad, though. I think it was top 10.
I have an image in my head of Roxon, Hurlings, and Tomac coming through the pack together.
The whole shot at Nations to me is like, I'm kind of hanging my hat on that as if he can whole shot those guys there on stuff he's not comfortable with and hasn't ridden, he should be able to whole shot here.
Yeah, but I bet he had the scoop off-road tire on.
I'm just saying.
This. I tweeted this yesterday.
I know you did.
And I got shit for it, but I genuinely believe it. The scoop tire or some variation of that, the off-road tire, whatever it is he's using, is his emotional support tire. It is an item or a tool that gives him a lot of self-belief in his starts, which then sets a trickle effect to everything else that happens on track. I personally believe that with a regular tire on, he does not believe that he can start with Jet and the others. But I think you put one of those tires on, it almost puts him at ease and he's like, I've got this, which then leads to the confidence thing. And I realize people won't want to hear that, but I genuinely believe that based on what I know, people I've spoken to. Like, I've done research into this theory. It's not exactly a fucking important theory. It's just what I believe, but it's not a completely unfounded thing.
No, it's fair. So we'll just be keen eye on whether he's got the scoop on. I'm going to bring a telescope to Anaheim 1, zoom in.
So are we back next week to do a big Anaheim 1 preview?
We absolutely are.
Okay. Oh, and also, have we formally announced we're back next year?
Yeah, we did like 2 shows ago.
Okay.
But we're back. You guys have to keep dealing with us for another year of fun and festivities. And hopefully Lewis has his brother come stay with him soon so we can rehash whether or not he's going to make him pay rent.
He actually lands in 6 hours.
Does he?
Yeah.
And?
No rent.
Oh, I feel like that's going to change by next week, though. So we'll have to rehash, figure it out. But yes, we will be back next week to preview Anaheim 1, go over a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff to go over. Maybe we'll try to have a comprehensive list of everyone racing West. I know that there's a lot of people that have already been announced, but we'll gather more information then. And we'll be back to start off 2025 with a bang. Fun year, Lewis. Good having banters with you, buddy.
I feel like, well, as I said, word of 2024, polarizing.
So what's
and if there's a word that epitomizes LVK, it's that.
So if you could theorize what you want 2025's word to be, what are we thinking?
Just fine.
Okay, fine.
We're not even setting the. I'm not even going to set the bar too high.
Yeah.
Just okay is what we hope the word of 2025 is.
All right, people. Well, I hope everyone's night is okay here on New Year's Eve. Just fine tomorrow as well. And we roll into 2025 with a lot of fun stuff. We are 12 days from Anaheim 1, and we cannot wait to drop the gate, but we also cannot wait to join you guys next week to preview the 2025 season. Thanks, guys, for tuning in all year. What?
I didn't realize you were dropping the gate.
I said we.
Yeah, but you said we cannot wait to drop the gate. I didn't realize we had that job.
Yeah. We're going to be like Steve with the hot dog thing.
I didn't realize.
The wiener dog thing. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in all year. A huge shout out, of course, to EVS Sports, Namura, and Race Tech for backing the show all year long. And we'll be back next week to preview the 2025 Supercross season, SMX Championship, and more here on the LVK More Than Moto podcast.